live? I am live. I just got to the crib. Hello, love tubers. If it's your first time, welcome. Thank you for being here on the channel. Mwah. I like about a number of things actually, from celebrities to money to witchy stuff and everything else. So let's dive in. The 4-hour work week is what I'm covering. I want to get through this book. I figured if I was getting through it, other people needed to get through it as well. So yesterday I did the introduction. Today I'm going with step 1. Oops, my fault. D is for definition. Let's see if I can get a little better setup so that you're not falling. I'm used to doing this at the library where things are appropriately set up for me, and there are other advantages, but I'm working within my means today. Step 1D is for definition. Reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. Albert Einstein. I just got finished writing on Albert Einstein in the Total Eclipse book, but let's continue on. I like a lot of his quotes, actually. The first chapter, Introduction, Cautions, and Comprehensive Comparisons, How to Burn $1,000. Oh, how to burn $1 million a night. I don't know if I need to know how to do that, because I just watched people who ruin their whole lives off of not having $1 million. But we're going to go through this chapter anyway, together. These individuals have riches just as we say that we have a fever, when really the fever has us. Seneca, 4 BC AD 65, before Christ and after death. Oh, just delete it on me. Bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it back. I don't know what it's doing. Oh, that's nice. Not really. Just a minute. That's okay. I got it in my email. Gotta always have a backup plan. Do. I don't know why it shut down on me just that quickly. Looking at my Google Workspace. One moment, please. Thank you for your patience. Let's try this again. Come on. I don't own the copyrights. The book is by Timothy Ferriss. Ferriss. Okay. I don't know who burns $1 million a night personally, but I don't know if we need to know them either. But we might need to learn some lessons in between that we can learn off the experience and benefit off later. There we go. I also have in mind that seemingly wealth, but most terribly impoverished class of all, who have accumulated dross, but know not how to use it or get rid of it, and thus have forged their own golden or silver fetters. Henry David Thoreau, 1817 to 1862. 1 a.m. Central Time, 3,000 feet over Las Vegas. Oh, honey, I know this is going to be good. His friends drank to the point of speaking in tongues. Were asleep. It was just the two of us now in first class. He extended his hand to introduce himself, and an enormous Looney Tunes enormous diamond ring appeared from the ether of his fingers, crossed under my reading light. Mark was a legitimate magnet. He had at different times run practically all the gas stations. convenience stores, and gambling in South Carolina. He confessed with a half smile that in an average trip to Sin City, ooh, that sounds delicious, he and his fellow weekend warriors might lose an average of, oh my gosh, 500,000 to 100 million each. Nice. He sat up in his seat as the conversation drifted to my travels. But I was more interested in his astounding record of printing money. So of all your businesses, which did you like the most? The answer took less than a second of thought. None of them. He explained that he had spent more than 30 years with people he didn't like to buy things he didn't need. Life had become a succession of trophy wives. He was on lucky number 3, expensive cars, and other empty bragging rights. Mark was one of the living dead. This is exactly where we don't want to end up. Apples and oranges, a comparison. So what makes the difference? What separates the new rich, categorized by options, from the defers? D. Those who save it all for the end only to find that life has passed them by. It begins at the beginning. The new rich can be separated from the crowd based on their goals, which reflect very distinct priorities and life philosophies. Note how stubble differences in wording completely change the necessary actions for fulfilling what at a glance appeared to be the similar goals. These are not limited to business owners. Even the first, as I will show later, applies to employees. D, which again is the furries, and then NR for the new rich, as far as synonyms and abbreviations. D, to work for yourself, and R, to have others work for you. D, to work when you want to, and R, to prevent work for work's sake and to do the minimum necessity necessary for maximum effect, minimum effectual load. D, to retire early or young. NR, to distribute recovery periods and adventures, many retirements throughout life on a regular basis, and recognize that inactivity is not the goal, doing that which excites you is. D, to buy all the things you want to have. NR, to do all the things you want to do and be all the things you want to be. If this includes some tools and gadgets, so be it, but there are other means to an end or bonuses, not the focus. N, to be the boss instead of the employee, to be in charge. NR, to be neither the boss nor the employee, but the owner. To own the trains and have someone else ensure they run on time. D, to make a ton of money. NR, to make a ton of money with specific reasons and define dreams to chase, timelines and steps included. What are you working for? What's your why? D, to have more. NR, to have more quality and less chatter, to have huge financial reserves, but recognize that most material wants are justifications for spending time on the things that don't really matter, including buying things and prepping to buy things. You spent 2 weeks negotiating your new Infiniti with this dealership and got $10,000 off. That's great. Does your life have a purpose? Are you contributing anything useful to this world, or just shuffling papers, banging on a keyboard, and coming home to a drunken existence on the weekend? D, To reach the big payoff, whether IPO, acquisition, retirement, or other pot of gold. NR, to think big but ensure payday comes every day. Cash flow first, big payday second. D, to have freedom from doing what you dislike. To have freedom from doing that which you dislike, but also the freedom and resolve to pursue your dreams without reverting. To work for work's sake, which is abbreviated as W4W, work for work's sake. After years of repetitive work, you will often need to dig hard to find your passions, redefine your dreams, and revive hobbies that you let a trophy to near extinction. The goal is not to simply eliminate the bad, which does nothing more than leave you with a vacuum, but to pursue and experience the best in the world. I believe that is all of our goals, to experience the best that is in the world. Getting off on the wrong train. I've done this before, gotten off on the wrong bus, never been on a train. Let's go through it, shall we, together? The first principle is that you must not fool yourself, and you are the easiest person to fool. Richard P. Feynman, Feynman, Nobel Prize winning physicist. Enough is enough. Lemmings no more. The blind quest for cash is a fool's charade. I've shattered private planes over the Andes, enjoyed many of the best wines in the world in between world-class ski runs, and lived like a king, longing by the infinity pool of a private villa. Here's the little secret. I rarely tell. It all costs less than rent in the United States. If you can free your time and location, your money is automatically worth 3 to 10 times as much. I'm going to pause for a minute there. My Sherpa, who recommended this book that I read, lives in Mexico, from New York. She recently moved back to Florida for her transition, then moved back to Mexico. She said it is definitely more affordable for this wonderful 4-hour work week that she's doing to be able to afford to stay there and travel the globe. So just a little input and insight. I'm going to keep going. This has nothing to do with currency rates. Being financially rich and having the ability to live like a millionaire are fundamentally two very different things. Money is multiplied in practical value depending on the number of W's you control in your life. What you do, when you do it, where you do it, and with whom you do it. I call this the freedom multiplier. Use this as our criterion, the 80-hour work week. 500,000 per year investment banker is less powerful than the employed new rich who works 1/4 the hours for 40,000, but has complete freedom of when, where, and how to live. The former's 500,000 may be worth less than 40,000, and the latter's 40,000 worth more than 500,000 when we run the numbers and look at the lifestyle input of their money. Options. The ability to choose is real power. This book is all about how to see and create those options with the least effort and cost. It just so happens Paradoxically, that you make more money, a lot more money, by doing half of what you are doing now. So who are the new rich? Welcome, left tubers. The employee who rearranges, see, Vocal.Media. Oh, there we go. Let me just download this. Control F, employees. There we go. A little music for you. Da, 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 da. Da, da, da. I love reading. Just a moment. Okay, it appears I'm reading 2 chapters, but that's okay. We must need them. Here we go. We went through options. Who are the new rich? The employee who rearranges his schedule and negotiates a remote work agreement, thank you for your patience, to achieve 90% of the results in 1/10 of time, which frees him to practice cross-country skiing and take road trips with his family 2 weeks per month. The business owner who eliminates the less profitable customers and projects, outsources all operations entirely, and travels the world collecting rare documents. I'm not sure in a moment. Just making sure. Okay. Yeah. All while working remotely on a website to showcase her own illustration work. The student who elects to risk it all, which is nothing, to establish an online video rental service that delivers $5,000 per month to income from a small niche of Blu-ray aficionados. That must be a Spanish word. A 2-hour per week side project that allows him to work full-time as an animal rights lobbyist. The options, I'm in the right place, are limitless. But each path begins with the same first step replacement assumptions. To join the movement, you will need to learn a new lexicon and recalibrate direction using a compass for an unusual world. From inverting responsibly to jettisoning the entire concept of success. We need to change the rules. I'm learning some words in this book, honey. All right. Step 1D is for definition. New players for a new game, global and unrestricted. Turton, Italy. Civilization had too many rules for me, so I did my best to rewrite them. Bill Cosby. As he rotated 360 degrees through the air, the defeating noise turned to silence. Dale Begg Smith executed the flip perfectly. Skis crossed an X over his head and landed in the record books as he slid across the finish. It was February 16, 2006, and he was now a Mongol skiing gold medalist at the Turnen Winter Olympics. Unlike other full-time athletes, he will never have to return to a dead-end job after his moment of glory. Nor will he look back at this day as the climax of his only passion. After all, he was 21 years old and drove a black Lamborghini. Born a Canadian and something of a late bloomer, Dale found his calling an internet-based IT company at the age of 13. Fortunately, he had a more experienced mentor and partner to guide him. His 15-year-old brother Jason created to fund their dream of standing atop the Olympic podium, it would, only 2 years later, become the third largest company of its kind in the world. While Dell's teammates were hitting the shapes for extra seasons, he was buying sake for clients in Tokyo. Y'all had sake? I ain't never had no sake. Let's see here. In a world of work harder, not smarter, it came to pass that his coaches felt he was spending too much time on his businesses and not enough time in training despite his results. Rather than choose between his businesses or his dream, Dole chose to move laterally with both. Good job. From either or to both and he wasn't spending too much time on his businesses. He and his brother were spending too much time with Canucks. In 2002, you know what? I don't know what Canucks is. One moment, please. If I don't know what it is, somebody else. Moment. Canucks. Meaning. We learning together, y'all. Thank you for your patience. Canucks is a slang term for a Canadian. The origins of the word are uncertain. The term Canuck is first recorded in 1835 as an Americanism, originally referring to Dutch Canadians, which included German Canadians or French Canadians. That really didn't give me a meaning. Just a minute. Comics. Comic book character Johnny Canuck. Let's keep going. Slang. Let's try slang. It was a word Canuck has been used to mean a Canadian. Okay. So, AKA Canadian. Canuck is Canadian. All right. I don't know if it's a good slang or a bad slang. We're going to keep going. In 2002, y'all can let me know if you know. In 2002, they moved to the ski capital of the world, Australia, where the team was smaller, more flexible, and coached by a legend. 3 short years later, he received citizenship, went head-to-head against former teammates, and became the third Aussie in history to win winter gold. In the land of wallabies, that's a cute word, and Big Surf, Dell had since gone postal literally, right next to the Elvis Presley commemorative edition. You can buy stamps with his face on them. Fame has its perks. As does looking outside the choices presented to you, they are always lateral options. All right. New Caledonia, South Pacific Ocean. Once you say you're going to settle for second, that's what happens in your life. John F. Kennedy. Some people remain convinced that just a bit more money will make things right. I've done that. Lord, I got this $19,000 job. If I can just make $35,000, 35,000 comes. Ooh, this 35,000 is nice. It's getting some nice cushion, but if I could just have $15,000 more a year, I'd be okay. 15,000 come, 15,000 go. Added on to 15,000, 5,000 to 10,000 extra. It still ain't enough. let's keep on moving with the story. If you've been there, go on and comment in the comment section. Okay. Their goals are arbitrary, moving to targets 300,000. My goals ain't never been there, but I need to get there. In the bank to 100 million in the portfolio, 100 million a year instead of 500,000, etc. Julie's goal made intrinsic sense come back with the same number of children she had left with. She reclined in her seat and glanced across the aisle past her sleeping husband, Mark, counting as she had done thousands, one times, 1, 2, 3, so far, so good. In 12 hours, they would all be back in Paris, safe and sound. That was assuming the plane from New Caledonia held together, of course. New Caledonia? Nestled in the tropics of the Coral Sea, New Caledonia was a French territory where Julie and Mark had just sold their sailboat that took them 5,000 miles around the world. Of course, recouping their initial investment had been part of the plan. All said and done, their 15-month exploration of the globe from the gondola-rich waters of Venice to the tribal shares of Polynesia had cost between 18,000 and 19,000, less than rent and boutiques in Paris. Most people would consider this impossible. Then again, most people don't know that more than 300 families set sail from France each year to do the same. Wow, that's deep. The trip had been a dream for almost 2 decades, relegated to the back of the line behind an ever-glowing list of responsibilities. Each passing moment brought a new list of reasons for putting it off. That sounds like everyday life right there. Okay. One day, Julie realized that if she didn't do it now, she would never do it. The rationalizations, legitimate or not, would just continue to add up and make it harder to convince herself that escape was possible. You know what? I may not have that budget, but I feel like that in everyday life here in the United States. 1 year of preparation and one 30-day trial run with her husband later, they set sail to the trip of a lifetime. Julie realized almost as soon as the anchor lifted that, far from being a reason not to travel and seek adventure, children, or perhaps the best reason of all to do both, pre-trip, her 3 little boys had fought like pansies at the drop of a hat. They acted like babies, kids. If you are Caucasian here and or whatever nationality and don't know what baby's kids is, oh Lord, they acted like baby's kids. You can look it up later. Whew. Pre-trip, the 3 little boys had fought like Benjis at the drop of a hat in the process of learning to coexist in a floating bedroom. They learned patience as much for themselves as for the sanity of their parents. Pre-trip books were about as appealing as eating sand. Given the alternative of staring at a wall on the open sea, all 3 learned to love books. Pulling them out of the school for 1 academic year and exposing them to new environments had proven to be the best investment in their education to date. Education is important. Let's see here. Now sitting in the plane, Julie looked out at the clouds as the wing cut past them, already thinking of their next plans to find a place in the mountains and ski all year long, using income from a sail ridging workshop to fund the slopes and more travel. Now that she had done it once, she had the itch. And I'm going to conclude with this one here. Lifestyle design in action. I was done with driving across town to collect my son from childcare only to slide across. You know what? I'm going to pause real quick. I'm going to give you an example. Mr. Gua, I had a conversation with someone the other day, and they didn't understand what I was trying to tell them. Unfortunately, in our country, reading has not been at the forefront. And my ancestors fought for us to read, write, and get our education. I'm putting all that to good use. I believe my ancestors would be proud. When I talked to this young African American male, I had to come from a college degree because I have got an associate's and a bachelor's, and I've got a few certifications and some other things. I took my knowledge to be able to simplify it for him, and I put it on an 8th grade level. I would like not just my folks, but for folks all across the border to do better. If you do not like being here, you don't have to be. But I'm going to continue to be me. Have a good day. Let's continue the lesson. Awesome. Okay. Lifestyle design in action. I was done with driving across town to collect my son from childcare only to slide across icy highways. Trying to get back to work with him in tow to finish my work. My mini retirement brought us both to live at an alternate boarding school full of creative lifestyle redesigning children and staff in a gorgeous Florida forest with a spring-fed pond and plenty of sunshine. You can easily search for alternative schools on traditional schools that might accept your children during your stay. Alternative schools often see themselves as supportive communities and are exceptionally welcoming. You might even find an opportunity to work at a school where you could experience a new environment with your child. DEB, Deb. It doesn't explain who Deb is, but that's okay. I like her knowledge. Caution and comparisons, Tim. Your book and blog have inspired me to quit my job, write 2 ebooks, skydive, backpack through South America, sell all the clutter in my life, and host an annual convention of the world's top dating instructors. My primary business venture 3rd year running. The best part, I can't even buy a drink yet. Thank you so much, bro. Anthony. And we are going to end there for the day. And I will be back with some more goodies tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed. I know it's a little later than I normally am on here. Thank you for your patience for today. It was a long day, actually. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow or later on. Have a wonderful evening. Rest well. Mwah.